for investors. So when demand drives the price up, that's probably not good news, because it means there's something that investors think they need a safe haven from. And so it is at the moment, with gold the best performing asset this year, up 14% year to date and 50% since the start of last year, going above $3,000 US last night for the first time, or 4,700 Aussie. So what are investors worried about? Well, a year ago it was geopolitics, Ukraine and the Middle East, and now added to the anxiety is Donald Trump, or more precisely tariffs, which are expected to cause a hit to economic growth, something that was endorsed last night by the OECD in its latest Global Economic Outlook, which downgraded world growth from 3.2% last year to 3.1% this year and 3% next year. US growth has been downgraded more, Europe has been upgraded, and the forecast for Australia cut from 1.9% this year to 1.8% next year. And that compares, by the way, with the government's latest forecast for next year of 2.25%. So we'll see what they say about that in the budget next week. The local share market went up again today, but not very much, and it was hard to discern any pattern. The US market also went up last night, as did Asian markets today. Iron ore fell 2.5%, apparently because of a fall in Chinese house prices. And the Aussie continued to rise as the US dollar falls in anticipation of weaker growth and therefore lower interest rates. And that's finance.
All right, Shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to our powers. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruchah Quadash, and give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that have taught us this truth to the constant will and will through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Shai. Hey, peace, mercy, and blessings to the beloved Akim that are out there pushing this word wholeheartedly in truth and in sincerity, that are not wavering to the left nor to the right, but constantly staying on that straight and narrow, fighting for your crowns in these last days that we are truly living in. Even shalom to the few sisters, the Aquavs that are out there, and even shalom to the Israelite foreigners, those that may look like the other nations, but their seed line goes back into our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm the brother Irad, coming back with another lesson to the Lord willing, edify, and feed the lambs of Yahweh Bashmel Shai. All right, and I want to read this title right here. Musk makes bizarre claim that Magic Computers sends U.S. cash from thin air. All right, and you just recently had Elon Musk that met with Senator Ted Cruz out in Texas, making claims that through Doge, which Doge is the Department of Government Efficiency, that they're pretty much printing and creating money, sending money out of thin air. Okay, and you know, through the spirit, as the apostles been saying, that is going to come a time where we're going to hit hyperinflation. The dollar was going to no longer be usable. Its economy was going to collapse, and pretty much gold and silver, which would be a life raft, so to speak, a way for you to pretty much buy and exchange. Okay, a bartering system was getting ready to come back. And with all these different tariffs, which tariffs is just another word for saying taxes, what these Edomites are doing is they're pretty much systematically destroying this place. A lot of these businesses, as well as the working class citizens, are getting ready to suffer and plummet real soon. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's read into some of this, and I'm gonna play a couple videos, and Lord willing, this does make sense. To you, I came out there. All right, so it says Elon Musk says that the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, has discovered 14 magic money computers that can transfer U.S. funds to anywhere in the world. Speaking as a guest on the Verdict podcast with Senator Ted Cruz, the billionaire shared the claim among Doge vigorous audits of the federal government, resulting in staff cuts in various agencies. It says, not forgetting when Musk made headlines when he asked government employees in an email requesting them to list what they have achieved in the past week or resign. It says, one of the things you told me about is what you called which you called magic money. computers. Cruz first mentioned to the CEO of Tesla in SpaceX. Now it says, you may think that the government computers all talk to each other. They're all synchronized. They add up what funds are going somewhere, and it's coherent, and that the numbers you present as a sender are actually the real numbers. They're not, Musk explained. It says Musk added that they're not totally wrong, but the numbers are probably off from 5 to 10%. Any computer which can just make money out of thin air, that's magic money. He continued. All right, now this is a conversation between Elon Musk and Ted Cruz back and forth. All right, so you hear Elon Musk making a statement that they're making money out of thin air. All right, and what I did was is that I typed in on Google, what would happen if you keep printing money out of thin air? That's what I typed in on Google. All right, that's what I typed in. And in the AI overview, it says, if a government continuously prints money without a corresponding increase in the production of goods and services, it leads to inflation. All right, that's where we at. We in the time period of inflation. All right, meaning that the dollar is becoming worth nothing, which the dollar is not worth nothing. All right, it's a fiat currency. It's a belief system, all right, that you use to exchange for goods. But since it's becoming less valued, you're having to pay more dollars to get less items. So right here it says, where prices rise and the purchasing power of money decreases. Now it says right here, it says increased money supply. When a government prints money, it essentially increases the amount of currency in circulation. If the money supply grows faster than the economy's ability to produce goods and services, the value of each unit of currency decreases, leading to inflation. All right, and we know that America is known as a consuming country. It doesn't produce as it once did back when America was booming in its heyday. All right, remember, America was as a golden cup in the hands of Yahweh Ba'Shem Abishai, all right, because it was the Lord that, put this place on the map. It was the Lord that allowed Esau to raise this place up, all right. Let me get this in the book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 3. It says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. So there was a time that they were going to come out the caves, all right? And during the Renaissance era, they were going to come back into power. Jake had to go down, and Esau had to rise. And eventually, over the course of time, as they were taking over Europe, they established themselves here as the 13 colonies in Babylon the Great. All right? Which you got the the 1776 July 4th, which was the independence from Great Britain, establishing himself that America was its own sovereign nation. Okay. And this was all through the will of Yahweh Ba'Shem Abishai for prophecy's sake. Okay. All right, just as we've been speaking that there was going to come a time that they were going to produce or create a system for what? Total control and enslavement. All right, so this first system was based upon what? Paperwork. And now it's getting ready to turn digital. All right. And that's the time period that we at, which they've been calling it the fourth industrial revolution. All right, we're in the fourth industrial age, so to speak. All right. And everybody right now is pretty much in a sense of debt, because that's how they've been ruling over the people. All right, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. All right, and this is why a lot of Israelites that are out there that are not prophesying or speaking on the MOTB, they're getting ready to be put to shame. All right, because this economy is getting ready to collapse in a major way. All right, and these Edomites are behind the demolition style of this place. All right, this is prophecy speaking. I'm gonna go further into it just to show you, Akim. Okay, bear with me. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. All right, and this is why faith is important, because see, when this place implodes, we're going to have faith in Yahweh Shema Shai to keep us secured. All right, meaning that the things that we can't purchase or we can't easily have access to, we're going to need Yahweh Shema Shai to supply these things for us, and he will. All right, who has ever called upon the Lord that have served him and been forsaken or confounded? All right, my servant shall eat, but everybody else shall howl for vexation. All right, and more people getting ready to be vexed out of their mind to the point where they're gonna want a sense of relief, a sense of take this pressure off our shoulders, and Esau's gonna come with the solution, and we know what the solution is. The solution is the mark of the beast, the RFID chip. All right. It says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as deaf, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? To him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right, and everybody right now is credit, taking more credit card loans, or more loans out, getting more credit card debt, okay, just to try to keep themselves afloat, because how bad it's getting out here. All right, now let's look this up real fast. The word thick clay, we go into it constantly. The Hebrew word is ibatyat, which means a weight of pledges, heavy debts. Okay, and this is how Esau controls over the people, through heavy debts. All right. Now, let me read a little bit more into the erosion of purchasing power. It says, as prices rise due to inflation, the same amount of money buys fewer goods and services, reducing the purchasing power of individuals and businesses. So that's what you would call erosion of purchasing power, okay, which we're suffering now. Right now it says economic instability. Uncontrolled inflation can lead to economic instability, making it difficult for businesses to plan and for individuals to save and invest. Now, I'm gonna get a video showing that what Esau's doing right now with a lot of these businesses that are pretty much going bankrupt, okay, or going out of business, is that they were dealing with adjustable rate loans, but instead of calling it adjustable rate loans, now they're calling it back floating rate debts. So it's the same scheme, but just repackaged in a different name. All right, which is causing a high rise in businesses to collapse instead of the banks, so to speak. All right, let me play some of this video from Brition. Let's go over here real fast. Let's watch this.
It's crazy. Is what you call insane. Magic Money computers at the
Oh, yeah,
Treasury.
well,
So tell us about it, because I never heard of that until you brought that up.
Okay, so you may think that the government computers like all talk to each other, they synchronize, they add up what funds are going somewhere, and it's it's coherent. That the there's and that the numbers, for example, that you're presented as a senator, are actually the real numbers.
One would think.
One would think. They're not.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they're not totally wrong, but they're probably off by 5% or 10% in some cases. So I call a Magic Money computer any computer which can just make money out of thin air. That's Magic Money.
So how does that work?
It just issues payments.
And you said there's something like 11 of these computers at Treasury that are sending out trillions in payments?
They're mostly at Treasury. Some are, but there's some at HHS, some there's one or two at State, there's some at DOD. I think we found now 14 Magic Money computers.
14, okay.
They just send money out of nothing.
All right, so related to this, we're going to jump into another video from a woman on X called the Vino Mom, Tiffany Chia.
And you, money can't just print out of thin air, all right? And you see why gold has hit above 3,000 an ounce, because they know that gold and silver is real money. Most Americans don't know what real money is. So they don't want people to have real assets, real money. Okay? They want you to solely rely on this current currency. And then when that goes out the window, they have the next phase of the currency that they have been having people use, is the digital currency. All right, which they've been gradually having all of us use, all right, because we use digital money. That's you go, whatever they type in at the bank, and whatever's on your account, that's digitally inputted. You tap your card through the scanner, you didn't spend digital money. Okay? So we've been using it, people are accustomed to using digital money. So they're not gonna think twice about Esau giving them a chip, okay, because they gonna want some type of relief, some type of comfort, because of a hellish situation that they're getting ready to be in. The scriptures speak about Esau as being a cunning hunter. Esau's a cunning hunter, all right. He plotteth over the just, which is the Israelites, okay? First and foremost, to keep us in bondage and in control, because they know that, the elites know that we're God's chosen people, Yahweh Bashim Shai's people, okay? So he wants total control over the Most High's people, over the earth, all right? And through this new system, he'll be able to do so. But he has to collapse the old way in order to bring in the new. All right, and this thing is happening very, very fast. All right, very, very fast. Okay, let me get a quick precept. All right, the scriptures speak about in the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, that the Lord is speeding up the times. All right, he's making these devils move fast with their agenda. So like we've been saying, Trump, hey, he could be the last Trump. We believe through the spirit that he's the man for the job to bring forth the RFID chip. And he got the right cabinet, he got the right individuals next to him to make this thing happen. We ain't got no 1,000 years here. Matthew 24 and 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. All right, so the time is being sped up. All right, we in those times now. Now, Let's listen to her explain this next portion. And she pretty much breaks it down. She goes into it. Okay? Exactly what's going on. So more people getting ready to lose jobs. More businesses are getting ready to go out of business. It's a major domino effect or a snowball effect that's getting ready to happen. And it's going to be fast. Let's watch some more.
Kianki, maybe. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Anyway, she appears to have a background in finance, and she has nailed down something that's actually really right on the money that I've been wanting to talk about here, which is really The Big Short 2.0. So let me share this video with you, at least just a couple minutes of it, and then I'm going to explain it in the clearest way I can about what's coming, why there's going to be massive money printing, trillions upon trillions of dollars will be printed soon, and it's going to wipe out the value of the dollar. The dollar's headed towards zero, and gold and silver are headed, who knows where, sky high in dollars, because of course dollars are collapsing. But check out this video from the Vino Mom, Vino, because I guess she likes wine, maybe? The Vino Mom, check it out.
Last night, I started off by researching Hooters getting bankrupted by private equity and ended up uncovering the next 2008 level economic collapse. And they're hiding the bubble inside a private equity black box that makes it almost impossible to see what they're doing. Almost. This time, they're not going to collapse the banks and make it too big to fail. They're going to bankrupt the entire American pension system. I'm almost too afraid to make this video, but it has to be done, so let's get into it. In 2008, investors and bankers were able to crash the world's economy by engaging in risky, unethical bets and investments, and they did it right out in the open. They've learned, and this time they're doing it again. Bigger investments, bigger risks, same playbook, but they're doing it behind the smokescreen of private equity in bigger numbers. They're creating a bigger bubble than before, and it's not somewhere down the road. It's here, and it's about to pop. You see, for the last month, I've been trying to figure out why these companies that private equity had acquired were failing even though they were still succeeding. Joann's, 97% of their stores are still profitable, and yet they're still bankrupt. But they weren't bankrupt a year ago, and they still had the debt that private equity had stacked on them a year ago, so I wanted to know what changed. The same thing with Hooters. The same thing with... Now, in 2024, private equity bankrupted 110 businesses. And that was almost double their previous record. There had been huge increases in the amount of bankruptcies each year over the past 3 years. But I didn't know what had changed because private equity had held many of these businesses for several years and they were still succeeding. Until I got my hands on an economic report and an article and found a term that nobody could explain to me. The term was back floating rate loans. I didn't know what that meant, and no article would explain it to me. So I had to go and do research in the financial prospectuses of a bunch of financial investment firms. Guys, in the last few years, private equity has taken out $3.8 trillion in adjustable rate loans. These are adjustable rate loans. These private equity firms took out adjustable rate loans. And so for the last 3 years, as our interest rates have gone up, every 30 to 60 days, the money due on the loans they stacked on top of these companies has gone up every 30 to 60 days. That's why these successful companies that private equity had acquired are suddenly bankrupt, even though they're still making money. They're bankrupt because they're paying adjustable rate loans. But it doesn't stop there. It gets so much worse because my next question is, why are the banks willing to give these risky loans to these private equity firms knowing it's going to cause them to fail? And the answer is because the banks aren't going to keep them on their books. The banks are immediately repackaging these adjustable rate loans as something called CLOs, right? Which are then packaged and sold off to our pension funds as really great debt. And they tell them that it's a diversified portfolio. Are you hearing The Big Short in real time? Literally, all of these companies are getting bankrupted in greater and greater numbers. And all of this debt is adjustable rate. And all of the bankruptcies are skyrocketing in this direction. And if you look at this graph, you can see that aside from 2020, which is obviously an anomaly, right now, private equity, that's the yellow section, has double the highest number of bankruptcies they'd ever had prior to last year. And that number is climbing this year, $3.8 trillion. $3.8 trillion in this debt. Okay? I want you to look back to 2008. Do you want to know how many risky adjustable rate mortgages there were? $1.1 trillion. Do you want to know how many subprime but not quite as bad loans there were? $1.3 trillion. That was just in housing. In the $3.8 trillion held by private equity, they own the largest shares of the home ownership market in the United States, but they also own the daycares. They own the veterinary clinics. They own the pet stores. They own the nursing homes. They own the emergency rooms. They own the doctor's offices, the orthodontists. They own the builders. They own the HVAC companies. This isn't just housing. It's going to touch every single industry around us. And that is why, if this were a free market and private equity had not exploitatively gotten involved, if we had a free market and we could see what they were doing, these companies would be succeeding. If this were actually a free market, these companies would be succeeding. Joann's has 97% of their stores profitable. That is an astronomical number. 97% of a retail store is profitable. And they are failing, and they are closing every store. And it is further consolidating an already consolidated environment. And now there are thousands and thousands of employees that will not have jobs. And there are thousands of other businesses that are going through the exact same thing right now.
Man, she said a lot, Akim. She said a lot. But you see that, yeah, this thing is happening. All right? Like we've been saying through the Holy Spirit, man. Okay? That there's no bomb for this place. More jobs are going to keep being lost. Okay? And once these businesses go out, because really they just taking over. Esau's taking over. They're consolidating everything. You know, and they're pushing out the small businesses. They're keeping the very large corporations. Okay? And they're moving on to the next phase of their plans, man. You know, smart cities, things of that nature. All right, you got a lot of places that are just catching fire. L.A., Ohio, what else? Florida. Well, the Florida didn't catch fire, but Florida got hit with that storm. You know. Esau's doing all type of shit out here that, you know, is we can see through the spirit that, hey, it's to start building these smart cities and all these things that we've been talking about, you know. All right, so let me grab another precept. All right. Let me see. I'm gonna go over to Ecclesiastes. I'm gonna start at the top. All right, Ecclesiastes 12. I'm going to jump down. Ecclesiastes 12:1. It says, remember now that thy created in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. All right? The watchmen are out there, prophesying, preaching. All right? Warning. Okay? All right? The creator, which we call Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right? All right? His spirit is moving throughout the earth. All right, and mercy is still here. Okay, all right. So you want to get yourself together by the Lord before, all right, these evil days come in a whole. Okay, all right, because we're getting ready to see more of the grinding cease out here. All right, let's go to verse 4. It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right, so the grinding is ceasing. All right, the scriptures speak about no work for Egypt. Egypt is another spiritual name for America. For all the new brothers and listeners out there. Let me see. Type that in over here. All right, here we go. Let's go to Isaiah 19. Matter of fact, I'm going to jump around that chapter. Isaiah chapter 19. And verse 14. It says, the Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. It says, neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. Okay, all right, and this is something that the Lord did during the time of ancient Egypt. Okay, all right, which that chapter goes into how the Lord pretty much dried up the Nile River. He stopped particular businesses in that area during that time. So what the Lord did in Egypt, he's doing it again here in Babylon the Great, which is America. Okay, just like we said that the plagues of old that took place upon those ancient Egyptians are happening here, because this is a plague of Yahweh Bashim Abishai. Okay, 2nd Ezra 15 and 11. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. All right, so right now Egypt is coming into a state of mourning. Everybody here is mourning, some shape, fashion, or form. You should look at how the homeless population is rising 18% plus. Everybody out here is just through, you know, and it's evident. You know, that's how bad it is. They're rating that America has become now a third world country. Okay, all right, it's becoming what? Brought low. Because of why? Yahweh Bashim Shai is bringing this place down. All right, and these Edomites, he's using these Edomites to do so, to bring America down. Okay, because it's all part of their plan, what they're doing. You know, they're trying to bring the people to their knees and set up this new system. All right. So let me go back to well, it's getting ready to get bad out here. Isaiah 19. All right, and let's start right here, verse 4. Let's read this in the NLT. Isaiah 19 and 4 says that I will hand Egypt over to a hard, cruel master, which we said that's Donald Trump. A fierce king will rule them, says the Lord of heaven's armies. The waters of the Nile will fail to rise and flood the fields. The riverbed will be parched and dry. The canals of the Nile will dry up, and the streams of Egypt will stink with rotten reeds and rushes. All the greenery along the riverbanks and all the crops along the river will dry up and blow away. All right, and these are agricultural resources, but these could be equated today as resources that we have on the shelves at these stores. Produce. You're seeing less produce. You're hearing about recalls. You know, you're seeing the shelves become more bare and empty. Hey, water is now contaminated. I just heard in the news that they got water they're taking away the water now. But that's the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai. The Lord is taking away all the resources of this place. So it's getting ready to get bad out here. You know? That's why all the cuteness, the game playing is done. Yahweh Bashim Shai is not playing, man. All right, for you jakes out there that's thinking this is a game. All right? If you're not right with Yahweh Bashim Shai, it's not going to end well for you. All right? It says, verse 8, the fishermen will lament for lack of work. Those who cast hooks into the Niles will groan, and those who use nets will lose heart. All right? Show you that they couldn't get natural resources. All right, and people right now, they can't get jobs. They could barely afford rent. They're one paycheck away from being homeless. Literally. You know? All right, because people can't afford nothing. And then when they try to go get a job, they're just getting turned away. All right? You had one Jake that got on whatever platform it was. He said, man, I've been turning application after application after application. If I don't get a job in 30 days, he said he was going to turn into a Pooh Shiesty type of nigga. He's just going to run up on some shit and rob. Well, that's the sentiment. When people can't work a 9 to 5 and get what they need through regular means, that's what they're going to resort to. Violence. All right, and that's what we're getting ready to see. More violence in the streets. You know what I'm saying? All right, it says, there will be no flax for the harvest, nor thread for the weavers. They will be in despair, and all the workers will be sick at heart. Woo. All right, and we know what happens when people become, pushed, they back pushed against the wall. All right, let's get this back in 2 Esdras 15 and 15. Matter of fact, 14, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Okay? For there shall be sedition amongst men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So there's not going to be politicians, governors, people getting up saying, y'all need to stop, quell the violence. Now, people just going to loot. People going to just pillage, rape, rob, and murder to get what they want, to get what they need in order to survive. Because Jake don't got gold. You know? Jake don't even talk about gold. Only time Jake talk about gold is when they want to put some shit around their neck or a bracelet on. But they don't talk about gold as a means of actually using it to buy and sell. You know? All right, so let's keep reading some more. It says, it says, a man should desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right, because we know when cars get flipped, buildings set on fire, all right, people dying in the streets, buildings looted. We know that Esau's going to set up what is called martial law, bordering out these cities, locking shit down. All right, and another lockdown is definitely coming. We believe it's going to be way worse than 2020. You know? And when this lockdown happens, this could be the lockdown that there ain't going to be no opening to society. Okay? So it says, verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy the houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right? So these things is getting ready to rise. Like we've been saying, it's not going to be peace and safety. It's not going to be good times. Not going to be anything that's going to be pleasant. All right, sorrow, despair, languishing is getting ready to take place. All right, let's see what else she got to say. Let's watch a little bit more. Oh man, let me pause it for a second.
Failing, and they are closing every store, and it is further consolidating an already consolidated environment. And now there are thousands and thousands of employees that will not have jobs, and there are thousands of other businesses that are going through the exact same thing right now. And why? Because they know we will never allow the banks to be bailed out again.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here, although...
All right, so, you know, this is pretty much from Mike Adams, Brittion. It's a good watch. I haven't finished the whole thing, but, you know, the spirit was on me just to do a lesson concerning what they're going into, the topic. All right, because a lot is going on concerning prophecy. All right. So I'm just going to read a little bit more of what she was talking about as far as the back floating rate debt. Okay, let me go over here to the tigerdroppings.com. All right, which sounds like a discourse, but this was from 3/17/25. So it says basically private equity is using a version of the 2008 financial crisis, using a very not well-known financial tool called backfloating debt. Essentially, private equities have taken out low-interest loans on the private retail outlets. They have majority interest in, and as collateral, they use the retail outlet cash flow to service the loan. It says just like in the 2008 financial crisis, mortgages were packaged into collateralized debt obligations, which they call that CDOs, collateralized debt obligations, which they know that people can't pay these obligations. Okay, so things is worse now from 2008, right? It says, well, these private equity loans are packaged and sold to pensions funds also in the form of collateralized loan obligations, CLOs. The problem is these CLOs are filled with backfloating rate debts, loans, which is a euphemism. Hold on, let's see what that is. Euphemism. Euphemism refers to the use of pleasant sounding words or phrases or an agreeable combination of sounds, all right? Of an adjustable rate loan. These loans have started to adjust in once cash flow rich businesses like Party City, which that one is going out of business, Joann's, Forever 21, Big Lots, Hooters, etc., all owned by private equity, are no longer cash flow rich, can't meet the new loan payments, and are declaring bankruptcy. You see? All right, so these businesses are just getting hit one after another. They should be profiting, but they're not profiting. All right, because Esau is making it that way. All right, so he said he was going to go after all these different sectors. So I'm pretty much going to leave it right there. All right, Lord willing, this has been edifying to the Lord's elect, and Lord willing, it did make sense. All right, to you Akim that watched this video. All right, hey, the time is short. All right, the time is short. It's time to repent, get yourself right by Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, because hey, when shit goes down, all right, it's gonna be Yahweh Shema Shai that's gonna take care of his elect. So with that, shalom.